into positions of hopelessness and helplessness. The government gives them the drugs, builds bigger prisons, passes a 3-strike law, and then wants us to sing God Bless America. No, no, no. Not God Bless America. God damn America. That's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human. God damn America as long as she tries to act like she is God and she is supreme.
Okay, I'm gonna bring us in on like maybe the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Dun 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 the Barack Obama. What the fuck is the guy in our theme song yell?
Oh, you mean the theme song?
Locked into yeah.
Zapped him into hopelessness.
There you go.
I probably shouldn't do the impression, but
I haven't heard it in so long. I haven't thought about it in so long. I just pictured it was a guy yelling Barack Obama. That's not it at all.
Barack Obama, get off of my lawn.
Anyway.
this video is to get you in trouble. In several years.
Uh-oh. You are doing the voice. We're all canceled. Oh.
I can't do. Yeah, that was a bad impression. Wasn't expecting to do that today, folks. I just
And the podcast starts now.
We're Christmas canceled. The Grinch who canceled Christmas canceled us before we could even get into the episode. No. Fuck you. The internet and the woke mob. We are not canceled. We're just going to do the episode anyway. Hello, everyone. Happy Christmas. Good tidings. What are the other things you say?
They say happy holidays in the coastal cities.
Oh, right.
They say Happy Easter on Easter.
Oh, because of the bunny.
Because of the bunny.
Is that what you say? I've never noticed that. That's a good one, though. I like it.
On Easter.
Also, you also say Hoppy Easter if you're a pretentious craft brewer.
Oh, yes. That's another way you might say it.
Malty Halloween to you as well. This is something you might say if you were drinking like a Oktoberfest. Merry Christmas, fuckers. It's the... It's the Christmas episode of the podcast this year. I'm Jake. That's Alex.
Fuck you, woke mob.
That's Alex. By the way, ever since he was a little boy, it was his dream to host the Oscars. And look what you people did to him.
It's true. I'm not even close. How long do I have to work at this?
Andersley is here.
Andersley here. Grammy host 2072. Working on it.
Uh-huh.
You have to let the white man host the Grammys.
It's fun. I did not have cable growing up, so my only exposure to Jon Stewart was him hosting the Grammys, and I thought that was his only job. It's like,
was he
that's
good
what
at
this guy
it?
does. Yeah, he was very smooth and funny.
You never saw like
smooth like the jazz he awards.
You never saw The Daily Show?
Not until I was like, 13, 14, older.
Okay. Yeah,
it's a little before that.
Before Anders mostly watched the Grammys. That was his big thing.
Yeah, I mean that's what's on, what's it even called? Not even Rabbit Ears. That was on Rabbit Ears television.
That's what's on Rabbit Ears, speaking of Easter. Good Lord.
Whoa.
Ooh, hoppy.
I wonder if they ever did.
Good heavens.
Everybody shut up. It's Christmas. I'm just reenacting what Christmas is like at my house growing up. It's my dad. He's gathering us all around the Christmas tree. Imagine in your podcast listening mind, it's Christmas morning and you're opening your presents in the podcast app. Underneath a tree, there's like a fucking true crime shaped box, and there's some dumbass, quasi Nazi thing shaped box, and then it's a little PDA box, and it's wrapped in black and shit. What was you gonna? Go ahead.
I'm shaking a swastika, and I'm like, "What's in it?"
Yeah. It's a funny comedy.
Is this the game I wanted?
It's just a swastika-shaped box. It's adorable.
Oh, it's an iron swastika. Well, thank you for going out of your way, I suppose. This is still nice. I can hang it up somewhere.
Crinkle, crinkle. You're opening the spooky PDA box. What's inside? A copy of State of Terror by Hillary Rodham Clinton and Louise Penny, the crime thriller novel that Hillary Clinton wrote. This is the greatest Christmas of all time. You're like running around like that little kid from the viral video who gets the Nintendo, and he's like, ah, it's just what I wanted.
64.
Whatever.
Slowed down, and then he's like, "Grrr," that's you, but
Yeah.
finding Hillary Clinton's book.
So go ahead and Photoshop that if you're a tech savvy person. Put my face on the kid's face, and then slow it down so he's like, "Ah," and then instead of the Nintendo 64, it's a big ass copy of State of Terror by Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Write these details down. Make sure you get them right.
And I gotta say, a pretty cool cover. It's yellow font, like urgent yellow font. Her name, the author's names, and the titles in white, and then like a pentagram American flag, kind of.
Yeah. No, it's
Pentagram.
It was like a pentagon, but the American flag shooting into a pentagon.
that's actually what we call a square.
Fine, but it's tilted. It's like on its corner, on one of its corners.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where it's like it's diamond and it's also a square kind of. It's also technically
Think about it. All shapes are.
it's technically a
Liberals love
rectangle.
shapes.
That's right. All squares are rectangles.
That's true.
I don't know
That's
if you knew that, but
part of what this book
geometry.
is about.
Squares.
That's what this campaign's all about. So, here's the deal. Here's why we're doing this for Christmas this year. I had an extra Audible credit, and I had to close my account, and I was like, shit, I need to buy an audiobook, and I don't know what to buy. Then this fucking book came out, like a couple months ago, and there's an audio version of it, and I thought, for a minute, I was like, oh, we should do this for Halloween. That'll be a really funny Halloween episode because it's called State of Terror, and it's a spooky, scary thriller novel. And then I got obsessed with the Duvaliers, and I read that book instead, and that just happened. But I figure it's Christmas. This will be my Christmas present to the podcast listening audience, is I crammed this fucking book in my head, and I'm going to do my best to regurgitate the plot to you so that no one ever has to read it on their own time, because it was long. I listened to it at double speed, and it was... But this will be a fun episode.
What was that?
Well, it's very funny because the woman who does the narration it's not Hillary and it's not Louise Penny. It's some other lady. But she does this is basically, I guess what happened is that after Hillary Clinton lost the 2016 election, she just needed to blow off some steam. So she's like, I'm going to write a season of Homeland, essentially. It's just all terrorists and stuff. So the woman doing the narration, she does all of the accents. She's canceled. She's just like this podcast. She's canceled. But it's
exciting to be canceled because then you can do all the accents that you've been holding back this whole time.
Yeah.
Wait, she does all the accents. Are any of the characters African American?
Okay. Sort of.
I'm glad you asked.
She doesn't quite go there. It's weird. She does a lot of Middle Eastern accents, and it's very funny to listen to it double speed because it's sped up too. She's like a crazy person. But we'll get to that because that's where this book kind of starts. So basically what happened here is Hillary Clinton wrote this book that is like a fictionalization of it's like very thinly veiled fictional thriller story about a Secretary of State who has to overcome everything. And the character's name is Ellen Adams, but it's like, you know, come on. Like, it's clearly like
I
a
often
stand-in.
find those stories the most relatable of all.
It's so it's a story about this Secretary of State who takes who gets a job in the cabinet of a president who she actually ran against in, like, when they were in the primary. But then as a show of goodwill, he decided to hire her and make her the Secretary of State. And that character's name in the book is Douglas Williams. And I think to go off the name Williams,
Yes.
you could infer that this might be a stand-in for the first black president that the country ever had, because
Who's to say?
he also did that with Hillary.
But they don't mention that he's black.
They never mentioned his race.
Okay.
But he like
It's
he has
not
a,
about that, Andy.
and she
21st century.
and she never really does his voice as a black guy, but he also just has president voice. So, like, this whole story, it starts off, the very first dynamic you are to understand is that happened, and that he's doing Sun Tzu Art of War, keep your enemies closer, by hiring someone he doesn't like, and that they have like a tenuous relationship. And
Really?
we go from there, but the whole thing has the same energy basically as like the Rick and Morty episodes where the black president is like kind of
He's working with Rick.
he's working with Rick, but he's also, they hate each other, but then they have to save each other's asses and stuff like that. It's pretty much, I think that she just watched Rick and Morty and then sort of like did it like herself.
Very epic.
Yeah. Which
That's
Show
interesting.
me what you've got.
That's interesting because the sort of narrative that both of them pushed was everything's peachy keen now. We buried the hatchet, because that was such a nasty primary, like 10 times
nasty.
nastier than 2016. And so I had such a joke when people like David Simon try to say that Bernie was this like exceptionally negative candidate, which is just total horseshit. Like they went at each other, but maybe there was some lingering bad feeling and resentment, and she thought she should have been.
I'm sure if you're the president, you didn't forget that this woman ran like is this black candidate going to steal your mail campaign? You won. You don't have to be, gracious about it.
it's weird.
Yeah, but then he went and made her his Secretary of State. But yeah, I guess maybe it's the Sun Tzu
Off
situation.
the books, though.
Well,
Yeah.
so I mean, reading this, it's kind of like there's an episode of The Office where they break into Michael Scott's computer and they're reading like like a fanfic, like a script he wrote called Threat Level Midnight, I think is what it's called. And it's really funny because all of the characters are clearly stand-ins for the people in the office, and they figure that out, especially because he like one of them is Dwight with like an extra W or something, and they realize that he did like a search and find function with the keyboard, and he wrote it as all of them and then changed their names. This is very much what this book reads like. So this guy clearly is Barack Obama, and he, because of like the backstory that they set up, but like I'm not sure if this is a direct representation of reality. It's more the Michael Scott thing where it's skewed through the psyche of Hillary Clinton, because like everyone in the story is impossibly like wrong and rude and has slighted Ellen Adams, which is the character's name. I'm just going to call her Hillary Clinton. And, at the end of it's just a story of her overcoming all of them. They're all wrong about her and they're all like assholes. And so like this kind of shows you like maybe, I'm sure Obama doesn't think about Hillary Clinton that much, but she clearly thinks about him all the time and is still mad about like that
It's
election.
the Mad Men meme.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I don't think about you at all. It is.
Yeah.
Just taking a step back, very strange. Both Hillary and Bill Clinton have written thriller novels on the side.
Yeah, it's okay. So Bill's another interesting part of this. So as the story unfolds, everyone in the public imagination right now in the boomer Facebook world, in the little soap opera of Trump and Hillary and Obama, they're all there except for there's no Bernie, right? And there's also no Bill Clinton. The husband of Hillary Clinton in the book is dead. So I think that's what really tells you, like, because I mean, she like hates Trump, but like, you know, those those photos you see all the time of like her and Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, and they're all laughing, and you're supposed to go like, these people like actually don't hate each other that much. She really treats the people that she decides to like to cast as these straw men in this story and do battle with respect. And I think you actually are to understand, if you're in this story, she actually like doesn't dislike you that much. She's just like vying for power with you. If she actually hates you, she wrote you out of the story.
You're out of the book.
That's why there's no Bernie and there's no fucking Bill. He's just dead
Clinton.
from the get-go.
So she's a bachelorette in this book. There's no Bill Clinton. There's no husband. Does she get laid?
Well, she's a widow. So, but
Of course.
been a widow for a while.
The
So
most desirable group in America.
she, I guess spoiler alert, she doesn't fuck.
What?
Yeah, the book
Missed opportunity.
the book gets
Come on,
a
Hillary.
little raunchy, but it's like mostly told through these like younger sort of satellite characters she has, who are, one of them's Chelsea, and then one of them I think is supposed to be like Huma Abedin or something. And she's like a lib, and so she's written a bunch of women of color characters into this story who are like her friends, and she's great because she's friends with these people and stuff.
I made up a very diverse cast of my friends.
Yeah. So
My mystery novel.
She has a party with like two people of every race every weekend, like it's Noah's Ark.
It's a Noah's Ark situation.
yeah, except that she's
liberalism.
definitely angry at the black president, who is never stated to be black, and maybe isn't.
Maybe
Sometimes
he's.
if,
You know,
if
there
you're
was
close friends with people of other races, you can be very upset with them, and it just shows how not racist you are.
That's true. She's
You know, there's a
down. She's
guy.
pass.
I believe it was a mayor in a city in Idaho who was blue. I remember reading this
Is
several
that
years
true?
ago. Yes, he had there was some sort of freak accident.
The
affected his
Newfie
skin.
or something?
Huh?
A Newfie? Someone from Newfoundland?
No, it's from
they're
Idaho,
blue.
and he had blue skin. But
I'm
maybe
already
that's Douglas
canceled, so I
Williams.
don't
That's all I'm saying.
mind just popping off about stuff anymore. I think people from some places are blue.
Watch it about the Newfies. Louise Penny is Canadian, so
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, I'm sure she was
very
like,
funny.
she liked us up until that moment, if she was listening
Yeah.
to the podcast.
she's just sitting down one night, like, oh, let's see if any podcast have reviewed
Rubbing
our
hands together.
novel. Yeah.
What's the review?
She might.
Bang.
Weirder things have happened. Because, like, so I'm just going to recite the plot of this story off the dome because I speed listened to it over the last, like, 3 days. And also because I thought, while we do this, I would pull up, like, the Wikipedia or something, and there'd be, like, a little plot summary. No one has done such a thing. No one cares about this book. Well, I mean, it came out like a couple
This
months
is
ago.
cutting edge journalism.
Yeah.
Okay, but I could also say, so I remember several years ago, there'd be like stories that would come up about Bill Clinton, like he got a lap dance at some place in South America, had played a ballet hot card game with a bunch of sex workers. He used to get Botox and shit. And I remember reading these articles, and then all of a sudden they would just be taken off the internet. Just like, and I've heard that the Clintons do have a war room that's just in charge of covering up Bill's fucking trysts. So maybe they did that with the plot of this book. Hillary was like, I don't want any spoilers out there. Assassinate anyone who tries to put this on Wikipedia.
There
I
are
hope
bodies.
so. Well, that means we're going to get killed by
Ensuring
the
this will
Clintons.
be a genuine reading experience. I do have to
Right.
ask before we start, Jake, you've read this book. What do you think? Is it a good book?
No. That's kind of the premise of what we're doing here is I didn't think it was going to be good. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, we'll get to some very funny twists and turns in this book, but no, what are you talking about? It sucks. It's horrible. Although it's doing very well. You know, I was at a bookstore like a couple months ago when it came out, and it was, there was like signed copies and stuff, and people were getting it for Christmas and shit. So people like it, but they're dumb asses. It's real stupid. So let's start here, right? She is Secretary of State to Douglas Williams, and Douglas Williams, by the way, is like, it's weird because he is Obama, but he's also Biden. I think that she started writing this in like directly after losing to Trump. So this is like an imaginary land where, like, I don't know how this is all doesn't track 1-to-1, but there is also this other guy who was president for 4 years and was dangerous and a disaster and like set the stage for all the stuff to happen, who's named Eric Dunn. And they sort of refer...
They call him Dangerous Dunn.
Yeah. And he... and so, like, all of this terrible stuff is happening as they take... as they take office, and it's, it's like it's Dunn's fault, but they are getting blamed for it, and that sets them both up to have this sort of like relationship with the press where they're, a little oppositional. And speaking of the press, so the other thing is that Hillary Clinton's character, before she got into politics, ran a media empire. And so when she got into politics, she left this media empire to her daughter, Catherine, who's Chelsea. And so that's also another reason that Barack Obama hates her, is because when she was a media person, they ran a lot of stories on him and were dutiful journalists who held, the system's feet to the fire with the, what is it called? The fourth fucking whatever.
Fourth estate.
There you go.
Fourth
Yeah.
pillar. One
Yeah.
of those fucking things.
Hillary Clinton, the fifth
I was hoping
column.
you were going to say that Hillary Clinton ran like an iHeartRadio style institution. They're like, this is real hip hop. Now live on 95.4.
Well, she kind of jokes throughout the book about like how it's a media, like when you run a media thing, there's just like, she'll turn on her own channel and there's just like, at one point in the book, she's watching TV and it's like her own channel, and it's like
I hate when that happens.
it's an episode of Dr. Phil, and Dr. Phil is counseling a married couple where the man is come out as a trans woman to his wife, who subsequently came out as a trans man. This is just a funny detail you'll get in the background of this story.
It's something Hillary thinks about a lot. What if?
She has sort of given credence to the turf issue. I think it was, I want to say it was a British journalist who asked her this. No, but or it may not have been, but it was about J.K. Rowling. And this is before, she fully took her mask off. But someone asked Hillary Clinton, like, do you think the issues she's raising are valid about people sharing bathrooms? And Hillary Clinton was like, yeah, I think it's valid. So
100%. Yes.
Yeah, she didn't even know what the fuck she was saying. Yes, I do.
Pokemon Go, send them to jail.
Pokemon, go to your own bathroom. Are you a Nidoran or a Nidorino?
It says in the game which sex you are.
It's weird that there's one Pokemon that has genders. We don't have time to get into it. Is there discourse about that?
Wait, which one? Nidorino? I don't remember.
Nidorino and Nidorina.
He becomes Nido King or Nido Queen. That's why you have to know the gender.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's the difference? They're both normal type Pokemon. Well, not much.
Yeah, it's weird.
So yeah, interesting. Okay.
Niddos.
I like the fact that they named Trump's analog Eric Dunn. It's a thriller book. So every time this guy walks into a room, you're supposed to think, dun, dun, dun.
That
Is that what she was going for?
Dangerous
literally part of the story. So there's a guy who quotes a poet at her a lot named John Donne, and like he keeps saying something throughout the book that's like, well, you know, Donne's famous poem says what's done is done, or something like that. And then she like finds out halfway through the story, he was sending me a secret message about Eric Dunn. Whenever he was saying that. Yeah, that happens a lot. Also, another thing that happens, like I would say 3, maybe 4 times in the book is she'll be describing like what the atmosphere around the White House was when Eric Dunn was president, and be like, we truly lived in a state of terror. And then like again later on in the book, she'll be describing like the way women feel around toxic masculinity and be like, it is truly a state of terror. Like she does the thing where you say the name of the movie and so it could be in the preview, you know?
They're always trying to jihad up on that ass.
Yeah. So the book starts, and basically the first thing that Obama does to Ellen Adams, Hillary Clinton, is because she's Secretary of State, he sends her to the DMZ, and he sort of like ambushes her with this impossible job, and she has this really bad showing trying to do Secretary of State stuff at the North Korean, South Korean border.
Oh, okay,
wow.
that DMZ.
Not the DMV, the demilitarized zone.
Yeah.
And like they said that she was like all frumpy looking for some reason, because I think she like her flight didn't have enough time for her to like get, you know, makeup up and shit and like look good. So like the headlines are all, everyone's calling her a hobo. It's really funny. And she
What?
Yeah, I know.
That
Everybody,
is what conservative media does to people they don't like. Is look at them, they got off the plane like a bum.
well, it's also clearly like something happened in real life that she's then working into the book, and that's when everyone called me a hobo. But what they didn't understand was that the plane took off too late, and so
This was her Benghazi in a way.
Benghazi's kind of in here too.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird because in the book it's like there's no Hillary Clinton and there's no Barack Obama, but there's these stand-in characters. And then there's also stand-ins for other people, but then there's also like the person that you think it's fucking complicated. So she gets back, she has to meet with the president, and she looks all fucked up and frumpy, and everyone calls her a hobo and stuff, and she's like wearing Spanx, and then she has a hard day, and she's drinking wine with Catherine in their pajamas and stuff, and doing girl boss stuff. And you know, it's real sad. And she also has a son named Gil, who you think is
Wait, a son named Gil?
Gil, which you think is short for Gilbert, but it's later on in the book when he's talking to a terrorist, he reveals that his name is short for Gilgamesh. And,
Oh my God.
Yeah, so she named her kid Gilgamesh. And
Is that what Old Gil is short for from The Simpsons? Like, oh, I'm Gilgamesh. That's my real name, Old Gil.
Yes, Old Gil is in fact short for Gilgamesh, and that's a funny aside.
yeah, Old Gil in The Simpsons is named after the currency in Final Fantasy VII because he has no money. I've got no Gil.
I can't buy a single flame materia.
So let me see exactly how. I'm gonna not get this plot 100% because it is stupid and it doesn't matter. But basically, so what happens is the thing about Gil is that Gil was a he was in the military, and now he's a journalist, I think, and he's on this bus in France, I think, or Germany. I think it's in Germany, and he is friends. He's had a love interest with this woman named I would call her Inuyasha. I can't remember her name. It's
Inuyasha?
She's a Persian woman, an Iranian
Which is
woman.
interesting because it means dog boy.
Yeah, Ina Tahina or something, and she is a fucking journalist also, and they know each other from doing journalism. And he's on a bus, and she figures out that there's a bomb on that bus somehow because she's mysterious and from the Middle East, and that's the start of the mystery of what's going on, is why did she know about what's going on this bus. So she texts him about it, and he then warns everyone, we gotta get off the bus. He gets off the bus, but not everyone else does. The bomb goes off. Some people get off, some people don't. And then Hillary and Barack are in the White House, and then they see on the news network that she used to own, bomb has gone off in Germany, and oh my god, why is there a bomb? Is terrorism back? Oh my god, terrorism's back. So
Terrorism is back.
They start to slowly unravel what happened, and basically what happened is that there's this guy named Shah who is supposed to be, I think, kind of a stand-in for Osama bin Laden, but bin Laden also is referenced heavily through this story, so he's like another bin Laden. I don't know, he's like a second infamous terrorist guy.
This is my new character, Irish bin Laden.
I think it's just it's not like Shaw, like SHAW. It's SHAH, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's my bad. I was being stupid.
It's fine. I mean, come on. I'm calling this woman Inuyasha.
My character fits. He won't stop until the world's potato supply is destroyed.
O apostrophe Samba. The Irish Osama.
Right.
And so there's this whole fucking plot with Gil and Inuyasha where they're trying to figure out who planted the bomb, and at first they think, well, maybe how did he know about it? Because he texted and told his mom about it, and then they had to look into, well, he's a suspect if he knew about the bomb. And she has this really terse interaction with him where he's like, do you literally think I'm a terrorist? I'm your son. And she's like, her backstory. So he was a journalist, and he went to the Middle East during, the Obama years, and was he almost got beheaded by ISIS, basically, is his thing. And
many of us did.
He has a fraught relationship with Hillary over it because, he's all traumatized from it. And she's she kind of suspects he might have been turned to a double agent at some point.
Is he based on Shane Bauer? Is that what's happening?
Your guess is as good as mine. If any of this stuff sounds like stuff from real life, you feel free to associate, because some of the stuff I'm I don't know who the fuck Shane Bauer is.
Who is Shane Bauer?
He's American journalist who was detained in Iran.
Maybe, but she's also...
And it's a left guy, so...
Well, I just meant it kind of in who is, like a drama thing, who is the guy.
Well, it might be a mashup of Shane Bauer and the son that she doesn't have, because it's also, she wrote a fictional son.
Right.
This.
Shane Bo Biden.
So is he, where is he politically?
Yeah, they're all patriots.
Okay.
I don't know, there's not really...
you gotta be.
For
It's
a second,
Christmas.
and this is probably me wanting it to be about this, I thought it would be her Bernie bro son in a world with no Bernie, who's cool with,
There
foreign,
is...
You think she made up a son who she hates? Is your
Yes.
idea?
There is no left in this story, at
Okay.
all. There are only sane Democrats, and then there's the alt-right, and then there's also good conservatives, and that's kind of the realm we're living. And then there's also all the fucking terrorist cells, which are, where did they come from? So we have to kind of get into her head to understand this, but there will be do not fish for left stuff. You will not find it. You only find weird mirror images of it, I guess, and some other shit. Anyway, she starts to figure out that there's like, this was a bombing, and it was like, first in a series of other ones, because fucking somebody got a text message or something that sort of said like, they intercepted like a text that has like weird cryptic numerical codes and stuff, and she figures out that this is the time of day in certain time zones when
she cracks the code.
She hacks and cracks the code, man, and figures out that there's going to be other bombs that are going to go off. And then
I'm sorry, when you're Secretary of State, you're not cracking any code. You have an assistant who cracks the code. You
clearly do not know Ellen Adams.
I don't know anything about her.
She also she does have an assistant, this councilwoman who's been her friend since they were 7 years old, named Betsy. What the fuck is her name? Betsy. It doesn't matter.
Betsy Ahmadinejad.
No, it's a white lady. And Betsy.
Oh, that's the one based on her friend. So I watched some interviews beforehand, and apparently, the way Hillary Clinton and Louise Penny met is Hillary's best friend was this woman named Betsy, who
I'm soy facing.
She she met Louise Penny at a book signing in Chicago, and then Louise Penny's husband died, and then she got Hillary Clinton to send Louise Penny a letter, and this is during the election, and Louise Penny was like, wow, you sent that during the election? And then they became buds and ended up writing this novel, and the real life Betsy died in 2019.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's sad.
Betsy,
but they based a character on her, or at least her name.
Betsy Ebeling is the one in real life. So in the book, she's named Betsy Jameson. So
Betsy Jameson, you're the only one who can defeat Shaw.
Yeah, Betsy Jameson's like, she has this trope that's really annoying, which it's just never worked in a thing ever, but you see it over and over again, which is the character trait of really good at cursing. So she's always like, you muffle butt foot foot fart foot, and everyone's like, damn,
bitch ass.
What is the hardest word that is dropped in Shade of Terror? How far does the cussing go?
Good question. What slurs are included?
I don't really think that there's just...
Are there F-bombs?
Yeah, there's every once in a while the president's like, you fucker, when he discovers somebody is like a spy or something.
Do you ever think about how the whole concept of a curse word is it's supposed to be a word you're not supposed to say? And so really the only curse words left are slurs, but you can't say the slurs because we've decided we're not saying slurs. So you pretty much just can't do curses in general now.
Yeah. Also, like, it's very, like, it's weird that we so commonly refer to them as curse words because that's wizard shit. Like, you're not actually going to hurt somebody if you call them a bitch, you know?
You have to think of, like, Anders' mom.
Yep.
Who, when you say these words, she, like, does a double take at you and is like, don't.
She loses half her HP if you call her that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was raised Catholic, so it is literally some, like, old...
It's a curse.
Yes, it goes back like to the 1600s or something. But yeah, crap, she considers a cuss word. So.
The Christmas movie of the week is The Vivitch. Go check it out. It's got a lot of great lessons.
What if you took the V's and the Vivitch and you turned the whole W sideways and it's the Babitch now?
Hey!
You know?
Too far.
Moving on. God. Okay. So basically, this unfurling terror plot sets the stage for Hillary Clinton's character to sort of like navigate this unfolding crisis and solve this mystery through the power of negotiation as a Secretary of State. And so you're supposed to understand that she's like really good at this job and that she can do things that can only be done with like the cunning femininity of a professional woman who's, you know, like a big thing that happens a lot is that she like makes herself look stupid, but like, and then secretly, like as the narrator to the you is like, but they think that they don't understand. I was setting them up to underestimate me. So, God.
That's a classical Dragon Ball Z move, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, she's
Good
definitely
job.
doing, like hiding her power level stuff by like dropping coffee on her shirt and stuff. And like at one point she has diarrhea. Like,
Right.
God.
Diarrhea is not picked up on a scouter
Yeah.
of the standard Frieza force. They don't know how to detect it.
So the first thing that kind of happens is as they're trying to figure out where the rest of these bombs are going to go off, she flies to Iran with Betsy and they put on burqas and stuff and they go, she has to have a meeting with the president of Iran. And it's like this fraught thing where he's very like traditional and stuff. And so she's, you know, girl bossing him and stuff, but like by playing in and letting him think that he won and shit, but he's hates women and yada. And then the fucking Ayatollah shows up and it's like kind of this extra tense situation between the president of Iran and Hillary Clinton and the Ayatollah. And then also she's got her son's girlfriend who is part of the, you know, she's a journalist, but like, why did she have the codes? That's going on. And while this is happening, the Ayatollah tells this story about the cat and the rat. And it's this like parable that plays through the entire book, which is that there's a tiger and it's caught in a hunter's net at some point. And
Tigers are always caught in hunters' nets. Can I just say that?
You can go off. So a little rat comes by at some point, and the tiger says to the rat, "Hey, if you help me out of this net, I won't eat you. I'll be your best friend. I know I'm always trying to eat you, but please help me out of this net." And what the rat does very cunningly is it chews through all but like enough to where the tiger can almost get out, but not the whole thing. And it does this and waits till the hunter shows up, and then it chews through the extra thread, and then it's like successfully played the hunter off against the cat, and then the rat escapes. Whatever. The Ayatollah tells this fucking story, and she's like puzzled for the rest of the book. Like, which am I, the hunter, or am I the cat, or am I the rat? And then she's constantly like discovering that people double crossed her and going, "You were the rat the whole time."
LOL, what? Mr. Parables, the king of Iran.
But through talking to the president of Iran and the Ayatollah, she sort of discovers this backstory about the Shah guy. So basically Shah is he's like a weapons dealer who is kind of like the biggest threat to everyone right now, because what's going on, I mean, it's weird because he lives in Pakistan and Shah's story was that he was a terrorist and he sold a bunch of arms to people that like funded ISIS and the Taliban and all these people. And he did some attack, and then he ended up going into hiding in Pakistan in like a, you know, in the Osama bin Laden house. So he's Osama bin Laden basically. But Osama bin Laden also exists in this story. Like, they reference him a bunch of times. So he like is just this other guy who's like, I guess he runs into Osama bin Laden at a bar at some point and goes like, "Dude, same thing happened to me." Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why is there two people who had this specific story about hiding out in Pakistan? But what happened with Shah is he was hiding in Pakistan in this story's universe during the Dunn administration, But this belligerent, stupid president Dunn, secretly, she found out, let him go because he was negotiating with Pakistan.
No.
And he decided, for some art of the deal maneuver, just let that guy go. It's fine. I don't care.
Done.
I would love to find out Donald Trump is just letting like Osama bin Laden figures go around the world.
Yeah.
God.
So she figured out that he let him go because he was, I can't remember exactly how it plays out. It's some kind of sort of power shift deal or whatever.
Oh wait, this is an important question. Is Don, does he have dementia like Donald Trump? Like, can you just like trick him by bringing up different things, or is he like a cunning operator?
So we'll get to that because she eventually negotiates with him, and that's the boss battles of this game are negotiations. So like she eventually negotiates with Trump, but like she doesn't, like she's like paints him like an idiot, but kind of comes away going like, yeah, but you have to hand it to him, which is like insane, but also probably
You were my greatest battle yet.
Yeah. So Dunn had let Shaw go, and what she's starting to piece together is that she doesn't think that he did that because he is ideologically on the side of the terrorists. She thinks he's a useful idiot, and they convinced him that what Shaw does is like, yeah, he was like, you know, organizing these physicists to make nuclear weapons. It wasn't making nuclear weapons, he was making nuclear energy. And so, you know, and the woke libtards or whatever are the people that want this guy in prison, but he's fine. We just want him out or whatever. And so she thinks what is happening is that he inadvertently, like, well, she kind of goes back and forth between thinking he's a useful idiot or he's like legitimately still in communication with these people, because the other possibility that's floated is that he is like linked to like Al-Qaeda and all this other stuff, and Shaw and possibly the Ayatollah or whatever, and because he knew he was going to get voted out, and as a way to get back into office, he wants to be part of this like nuclear weapon threat that turns into a coup that then reinstalls Dunn as president. And that's kind of
shaking my head at this, listener. I can't believe this.
That's kind of the main like thing. The big question mark is like, wait, is he trying to like re-coup? Is he trying to do a coup? Is Trump trying to do a coup to get back into the White House with like the support of the alt-right and all these fucking and like terrorists, and then eventually Putin too? And
he better not. He's done.
He's done.
Mrs. Clinton, if you're listening, I am willing to work with your administration and any of your helpers to get back into power of the U.S. government. Let's go. We're all on the same team here.
So
It's Christmas.
how long has Williams and Hillary Clinton, I guess, been? How long have they been in power, and how long has Dunn been done?
Well, Dunn had a 4-year term, I guess. Right. It might have been 8 years in this story. I'm not really that sure. I think it's got to be 4 years. Yeah, because they like edited the story as they.
He's just Donald Trump, right? Like,
yeah, he's Trump. He's clearly Trump.
He's not at all based on.
So
Bush.
he had 4 years, and then he did a January 6th, and it was sad. Sad.
Yeah, and so they're like, you know, this is like they had this fucking bowl of shit served to him, like, you know, month 1 of the administration, basically, you know. Maybe month 2, 3, 4, probably first 6 months of the presidency, I'd say this is happening. And so they have to go around and deal with all these people who are like, you know, like one of the things that the Iranian president says is like, you know, individuals change, but I'm still dealing with the American government. And she's, you know, has to be like, we are not the previous administration. All this stuff. It was, you know, completely, that was a weird thing that happened. No, America's good and all this shit or whatever. And so what she starts to figure out, though, is that, and this is also, so at the same time, she has information coming in from Gil, because Gil went out. I really lost the fucking thread of Gil's plot. He went somewhere and got kidnapped by terrorists and is like texting her shit about like what he's discovered, which is that there's a mole in the White House essentially. And so
Gil discovered this.
Yeah, Gil and Inuyasha and a couple other people like sort of piece this together.
Kagome.
There's a lot of moving parts, but they start to figure out there's a mole in the White House, and they're trying to figure out who it is. And you've got these two old neocons, Whitehead and Beecham, that there's like the whole story goes back and forth. Is it Beecham? Is it Whitehead? Oh my God, I think it's Whitehead. I think it's Beecham or whatever. And they, so they as they're like becoming suspicious of people within the chiefs of staff and the the administration, they're also trying to figure out what happened, because at one point there's this guy Hamza the Lion who he made friends with Gil. He saved Gil's life because some terrorist was trying to fucking throw Gil off a cliff, and then Hamza, they fucking saves him, and that's when you discover his name's Gilgamesh, and they like they bond over their weird names and stuff, yada yada. And eventually Hamza gets killed. But when Hamza gets killed,
whoa!
He texts, I think he texts Gil or maybe fucking Hillary, I can't remember. But the last thing he texts before he dies is HLI. WHI. Can't remember what the fuck it is. 3 letters. It's really weird.
He texted her REI.
It's weird. There's another character that gets killed, and the last thing he does is text somebody White House, and then this guy texts LHI.
What is this pre-death texting? Is
I don't
that
know.
a common thing?
Fuck, maybe in Hillary Clinton's life. I don't know. But
I could see it.
this one gets really weird because it's like 3 letters, and they're like, did he just die? Like, is that a weird like typo? What is LHI? And it's, oh no, I'm sorry, it's HLI. I know it is. It's HLI, because what they figure out is eventually through talking to like journalists, they find this one journalist who went crazy from doing journalism, and he's basically like left. He changed his name, and he lives in this place called Three Pines, which I think Three Pines is supposed to be Chappaquiddick because it's like this nice.
No,
upstate.
Three Pines. So apparently, I know this from listening to the two authors chat. Three Pines is a mainstay of Louise Penny's stories. It's where this French-Canadian detective
Oh, it's like a
comes
Marvel
from.
Universe thing?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's in Quebec, I think, and it's in all of her books.
Couldn't be
'Cause that's
farther
where-
from Chappaquiddick.
Okay, that makes sense, because I was like, what the fuck is 3 Pines supposed to be? So they find this guy, right? And this guy is a journalist, and he knows one of the dumb kids, or Inuyasha or something. And he's like, his name was like fucking James Wong or something, but he changed it to Chan, and then they figure out he changed his name, but they track him down, and they're like, hey, you were studying this LHI thing. Why did you like go out here and change your name? And he's like, I have a family now. I'm happy. I don't want to talk about any of this shit. Yada, yada, yada. And eventually they put the screws to him, and they figure out, okay, so LHI was a joke that you would hear around Washington, or HLI, high level informant. And it was a joke about a conspiracy theory that far-right people threw around about how there was a person in the White House who was an informant who had high-level clearance.
Huh.
Right, but it was like, a joke, but then this guy fucking went into the dark web and figured out that it's like kind of real, and he discovered who it is, and he had all these fucking internet trolls trying to kill him and shit, so he changed his name. It's Q. She wrote QAnon into the fucking book.
Right. She said it's real, basically.
Well, sort of. I mean, the first thing
She's low-key telling people that Pizzagate is real.
Yeah.
It's real. I've been doing it.
She basically...
I'm the problem.
I mean, the way it sort of unrolls. So it sets up, and you're like, okay, so there's this joke but then this guy's like, no, it's real. It's this weird fucking dark web thing, which is, what QAnon is, a bunch of weirdos talking to each other online. And he gives her the codes to log in to HLI if she needs. And the reason he has them is because he has them carved into his skin above his heart, or tattooed or something. I think he carved them with a knife. It's just like a bunch of like, but it's like, the way they describe it in the book is it's the strangest website code I've ever seen. It doesn't even look like a website. But it's like, it's just a string of bizarre numbers and letters. It's like, that's what a fucking URL is. What do you mean? So,
A website so secretive, even the Secretary of State can't crack it.
yeah.
That's what her job is, apparently, is just cracking codes.
Which is a job we've established is mostly cracking codes of different kinds.
So, fuck, who do they go to first? They go to... She goes at one point to have dinner with the, I think it's the president of Iran again, but it's like a big, like, fancy dinner with waiters and stuff instead of like a dark, seedy room thing. Long story short, fucking Shah is like, he... Oh, also, I forgot to mention, Shah... She hates Shah because Shah, ever since he's been in exile after committing 9/11 Part 2 or whatever the fuck he did, he's been sending Hillary Clinton letters in the mail, like on the
That
date.
son of a bitch.
And they're like cards and flowers and stuff. And he sends them on the dates of the deaths of people that she loved, which she takes to mean...
Oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with this Irish bastard?
He killed, like, her husband. Osama bin Laden killed Bill Clinton in this story.
She
So this guy's
loved
name-
him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you explained this, but his name is Shah, or is a Shah?
No, his name is Shah.
He's the
name is
Shaw
just
of
Shaw.
fear. He's
It's-
the leader of all terror.
It's his last name. I can't remember his fucking first name. It's something Shah. But they refer to him by his last name, like Bin Laden or whatever.
And is he of Middle Eastern extraction?
He's just Osama bin Laden, but Osama bin Laden
I didn't
also
realize that was
exists.
a Middle Eastern name.
I don't know. It's fucking weird. But like he's been sending her these he's been taunting her, and he killed a bunch of people that she loves, and has been like sending like on the day of whatever. So like on the day of her
Son of a
husband's, the
bitch.
anniversary of his death, he sends her like a fucking letter every year, but she can't figure out. She can't prove it's him. And I guess she was fucking Secretary of State during like another administration or something. She has a political past, and
Right, I was about to ask, why is she getting letters?
she pissed him off at some point when she was like working in the previous administration or something.
went
She
too far.
accidentally
She got too
killed-
close.
She
The
accidentally
Shah.
bombed a wedding and his family and destroyed his entire extended
No,
family.
for real. Okay, so it's kind of in here because like, so I think if I remember correctly, like she kind of was Secretary of State in the administration before Trump and is again after or something
That
because
was low key.
because like in the dinner with the Iranian president, where she's doing high level Secretary of State negotiations, she kind of like winks to the viewer like, and I needed to make myself look stupid so that they would think I was easily taken advantage of, so that they would make this deal with me, because I'm trying to like lure them into this deal. So she brings up Libya and she's like, yeah, we did this thing too, and they're like, ha ha ha, foolish woman. Yes, you did. You think you did a good job on that, but you didn't. So she is and
You're
is
using your dumb female brain to do statecraft incorrectly.
So let's see. After that, so also there's a waiter, and the waiter leans in and says, "Your salad, man." And it's like Shaw in disguise, but she's never actually met him, so she doesn't know while this is happening it's him. And so,
What the fuck is wrong with Shaw?
well, Shaw's deal is he busted out, and he is in the middle of this huge, like, coordinated thing between these various different powers, where he's central to the coup to get done back in office, which is, really. So as she's interviewing all these different people and negotiating with them, she starts to realize, oh, well, the president of Iran has a hand in this. The Ayatollah has motivation, because what they're trying to do is get this dumb guy back in office who's easily taken advantage of, so that like they can use America as a state and then do all this statecraft from their vantage point. And but then, it's like, well, who's really going to come out on top here is kind of the like the ever evolving thing or whatever. So after this, God, I'm trying to remember how she ends up getting to Putin. But basically, they realize that there's 3 bombs that are going to go off, and I think there's like just another threat from the terrorists or whatever. And somehow she figures out, I've got to go talk to Putin because I know Putin knows something. No, fuck, sorry, I jumped the gun. She talks to Trump first. So she goes to Mar-a-Lago with Betsy, and she's like, she has this weird back and forth with him where, like, she shows up with Betsy, and he's like, who's this? She's probably just around for the sex, huh? Like, he's like real gross, and he makes these jokes about them being lesbians the whole time, but she, like, manages to undermine him by, using his own arrogance against him and yada, 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 and figures out that he gave up Shaw, which is like a secret. Like the media doesn't know it, the fucking public doesn't know it, and she thinks that she's like figured this out and is gonna blow his mind by being like, I know that you let this terrorist loose. And he's pretty funny in the book because he's like, what? Yeah, I did that. Like, he's like, oh, that wasn't a secret at all. No, he's an entrepreneur, that guy. He's cool. I met him. And she's like...
So he's funny in the book like he's funny in real life.
Yeah. Oh, he's also got an Olympic-sized swimming pool with a fountain in it in the book. And she points out that, like, that renders the pool useless and stuff. And is just talking about how trashy his estate is and whatnot. And so he's like, yeah, I let that guy go. He's fucking cool. He's great. He's an entrepreneur, and people think that he's trying to make nuclear weapons, but he's actually making nuclear power, which is good. We love power, don't we? And
he's sending her messages every month being like, your dead husband's birthday was...
yeah. And she's like, she goes to talk to Trump, and he's like, yeah, I love him, He's a great guy. And so through talking to Trump, she figures out, I think, that, like, he's being manipulated by Putin. But this is also where it's weird, because when she leaves Trump, she figures out, so up until this point, she thinks, oh, he's trying to do a coup, he's trying to get back in office. But he so readily, like, gives all this information up that she realizes he's just a useful idiot. And she's like, oh, okay, well, he's not actually the mastermind behind any of this weird coup stuff. He's just, and when she says something is, he actually is a great man. Some men are great, even though they're not good. It's like the way she puts it. So, like, she doesn't hate Trump. She's, like, annoyed by him, but, like, she like concedes, like, he does really love America or whatever the fuck. It's insane.
It's peak meritocracy brain, Like, at some point you have to be like, well, he's important, so that's good.
Yeah. So it's fucking weird.
Taunting me based on my husband's death in a way that's nice.
She, like, yeah, she just ends up leaving. She's like, oh, I got all this information out of him, and he's a big dumb idiot, and, like, she's weird. She kind of glows about him. She's like, she says stuff like, he, like, while I find him disgusting, being around him, he does have, like, a magnetism that is undeniable, and he's immediately able to find anyone's weak point and all this stuff. And it's like, do you like Donald Trump? I thought his whole book was about how you fucking hate him.
If Hillary Clinton got together with Donald Trump, that is all I'm asking from my American soap opera politics. I'll check out after that. That sounds great.
Got together, you mean?
Meaning she leaves Bill Clinton and marries Donald Trump, who is already married. I don't care about that. I just want to get results on my desk by 5.
Not Eric Dunn. There's no talk of his. He might be single. I think they're all kind of single. It's really weird.
Are they all there? And when you're single, you're swinging. You're slinging.
The only people that have sex are Gil and Inuyasha, and it's gross to read these old ladies like describing from Inuyasha's point of view. Like she is like, it's because it's all just wordplay. It's like
I'm sorry, you have my full attention.
it's like English teacher wrote a fucking sexy story thing. So like they'll be like, Inuyasha will be saying something like, I had a feeling that what I was getting from Gil was coming from my heart, but if I'm being true to myself, it was coming from a little bit lower. Like shit like that.
Oh no.
Whoa,
Yeah.
folks!
I am sweating right now.
Awooga.
Yeah, it was truly a state
I think
of
my
terror.
Christmas tree is on fire. It's a little warm in here.
That's so. In one of the interviews I watched, Hillary Clinton in a leather jacket is with Louise Penny on Seth Meyers, and they asked Louise Penny like, "What's it like being a Canadian and trying to write about American politics?" She's like, "Well, we're very kind people. I'm gonna be a good neighbor, not criticize. All I will say is we've got Justin Trudeau," and then she starts fanning herself as
Ugh.
if she's.
Fucking God. Get
God.
me a gun.
Politics people are so weird. That guy's, I don't know. No one in politics is hot. There's like 3 people. It's weird because you can tell.
Justin Trudeau, have you seen that thing where he does the handstand on the desk? I mean, that's pretty athletic.
I like when
I think
he does.
he's hot. I'll admit, that's mostly because I think he's Fidel Castro's son.
Oh,
and
right.
Got some of his nice
So he's so good
features.
at basketball.
I think he's hot when he does blackface because I appreciate people of color.
He has done
What if he
so
tried-
much blackface.
What if he tried to get out of it by being like, "Well, I technically am actually Latino."
Oh yeah, 'cause
That
he's
would be
Castro.
an Anders move because it doesn't make any sense. But
His mom fucked Fidel Castro, and that's why he looks that way.
it doesn't make sense to get out of blackface by saying you're Latino. That's not a thing.
He's
No,
Afro-Cuban.
I know it doesn't make sense, but that's something he would try to do. That's something a stupid person would do.
No, he's Afro-Cuban. It's just very light.
He's
skin.
Afro-Cuban.
Okay, so fuck this. So this leads us into the negotiation with Putin, which is like one of the final bosses of the book, where she has to go talk to Putin, and like it's like icy and stuff, and she looks like shit, and she does another thing where she looks like shit, and she's like, "This'll throw him off if I fuck up my hair and look dumb," and all this stuff, and she. I'm trying to figure out how to drop this bomb as effectively as possible because it is so funny. Like on the plane over, her and Betsy, like Betsy kind of keeps noticing like, oh, she's doing something on a computer, but I don't know what she's doing because she's not talking to Gil or like what's going on. And she won't tell her what it is. And then in this negotiation, he starts to. Putin, his name's Ivanov in the book, but it's Putin. He starts to reveal like that he's involved in negotiations with Pakistan. Oh, I think I did a canceled thing. It was Pakistan is who they were dealing with earlier at the dinner. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So he's, but he's involved in this complex dance between Pakistan and Iran and everyone, and trying to get Trump back into office. And because the Russian mafia is who is involved in the arms dealings here, and Shah is the guy who makes the weapons and then he sells them through the Russian mafia to everybody, and she's like talking to him and going like, what do you know about the Russian mafia? And he's saying, oh, I don't know there's no Russian mafia anymore, I don't know anything about them. And then she's like, you are in charge of the Russian mafia, I know how Russia works, you are involved in the Russian mafia, you're a fucking kleptocrat or whatever. And he's like, ha ha ha, very macho, and you foolish woman with your frumpy hair. And then she pulls out this laptop and she's like, well, what about this? And then like he turns like red, and then he turns deep red, he turns purple, and he's like about to bust a forehead vein, and he's like, you fucking American woman, how dare you? And basically what she reveals is that what's on the computer is pictures of him, compromat pictures of him of a sexual nature with a young boy. And she's like, that's right. That's right. You're a pedophile, and I could leak these with a click of a button. In fact, maybe I've already leaked them. So she has leverage over him. And she's like, you have to do, whatever. I fucking help me find Shaw. I need to track down Shaw because I can't figure out where he is. And he's like, fuck, God damn. He's like so angry. And at first it's like, okay, did she figure out he's a pedophile and then like get like weird child pornography of Putin fucking a little boy? And like, it's kind of implied that that's what's going on. And he's like, fine, he's in Florida. And they're like, where in Florida? And he's like, you know exactly where. And they're like, he's at Trump's house? And so then they fly away.
What?
And they're going to Florida. And in the plane, Betsy asks Hillary Clinton, she's like, is he a pedophile? Is fucking Putin a pedophile? And she goes, no. The boy was computer generated. So, like, that's what Hillary Clinton was doing on the plane over there. It was, like, making CGI child pornography.
What the fuck?
How do you... Wait, so not only is she Secretary of State, she knows how to, like, program and digitally, artistically create boy sex?
Secretary of States are either cracking codes
And
or
she has this
digitally
footage
animating.
of him fucking nothing that she can use to
And
put a boy in
No,
the
she would have had to look up actual kiddie porn, right?
I
So
think
she could
she-
superimpose the
There
head
is
on the thing.
so much happening in this tiny description.
So and it's crazy because he's like, at one point, like in retrospect, when you realize it's CGI, you realize he said, well, this isn't real. And she just goes, it doesn't matter because people will think it's real. So her power
She made a
negotiation move for if she needs to get anything done is she just makes CGI child pornography of whoever she's negotiating with. And then just goes, look, my daughter owns a media empire. I'll put this out there. People will think you're a pedophile.
I don't like that this is in Hillary Clinton's book. This feels like it's real in some way, and then I don't
Yeah,
care
I'm
for it.
sure she has done something like that in real life.
She wrote this book.
She has like one digital naked boy that she puts in every video, regardless of what's happening in there.
Yeah, and it's
Maybe
like,
the Access Hollywood tape wasn't even real, and she, her basement, did a CGI of that.
and I mean, like, how CGI doesn't look real. So, like, what program is she using? Is like,
Right.
have you seen the new Matrix thing on PS5? Where like, wow, it looks kind of almost real. Like, is she whipping this
Have
stuff
you
up?
seen when they take like competitive dog videos and they put in a tiny Shrek?
Yeah.
I think that's what she's doing, but for children porn.
Yeah, she's fucking Putin fucking the little Shrek, and he's like, no, this cannot get out.
This Shrek is underaged.
Or maybe it's that he does fuck Shreks, and so she's like, he already is a Shrekophile. So by showing this photo, she's like, it doesn't
We
matter
know
if it's
you're
fake
attracted
because
to
you
Shrek.
are a Shrekophile. So like that'll come out just if we show that. I don't fucking know. So let's do some master
Admit
negotiator
it.
shit.
You'll lose the Ukraine.
Couldn't he say if it came out, he would just be like, well, those weren't boys, they're just a bunch of like Hezbollah types. Like little guys.
Hezbollah types.
I don't even know.
Hezbollah, you know the... Never mind.
I mean, I know what that is, but are they?
No,
Yeah.
you can't never mind that. What do you...
Hezbollah is a guy who has some sort of congenital condition where he looks like a child, but he's a man. Like Andy
Is that true?
Milonakis. Yeah.
Oh, Andy Milonakis has Hezbollah disease?
It's not it's just the name of a guy who has it. Who's like an internet meme.
I'm sorry, I was confused.
Oh, but I'm sorry.
But they have
have
so they have deep fakes, and I'm sure Clinton is aware of these, right? She's probably worried about those. She's probably prepared to explain away like a video of Bill Clinton raping someone as a deep fake. So I feel like that's probably the field research she did for this aspect of the book.
It's all from her personal real life.
Right.
I am assured.
Yeah,
by this
there's
book.
there's just no, a Canadian. I don't think this was Louise Penny's idea. I don't think a Canadian would be constitutionally capable of coming up with such a horrid plot device.
This
Except
one of
for
those
that one
things
serial
that's
killer.
like, it has to be real because no one could have made that up. That is such an insane plot point to throw into this, up until this point, pretty run-of-the-mill political thriller.
Is this the climax of the book?
No, but we're getting there. I'm almost done.
Wow.
But this is maybe the best part. So she's like, flying with Betsy back to the United States, now knowing this information that they got out of Putin, that he does know where Shaw is, and Shaw is in the United States, and he is coordinating a nuclear attack. There's they also figured out through, there's a lot of some sweeping over that I A, forgot how to explain, and B, who gives a shit, but they figured out at one point that they did get nuclear weapons together. There's a whole fucking thing I skipped where they raided a factory that they figured out that Shaw was keeping physicists in to make nuclear weapons. They get to it, all the physicists are dead, but they figure out that he killed them after he had them make nukes. He sent the nukes to the United States. They're mailed as medical equipment or something, and they're like, holy shit, clock is ticking. This guy's going to nuke a bunch of major cities in America so that they can do this coup and get Trump back in and use him as a puppet for the Russian mafia, Pakistan, and the Ayatollah or whatever, to all fucking whatever. So, and there's, I was talking about you won't find left stuff in there. If you go through this, the Iran part is insane with the way they get around the history of Iran. It's pretty bad. So there's stuff in there, but I fucking take notes about it. 'Cause I was very distracted by this pedophile part, which is very funny. So, anyway, we get back to the United States. She meets with Barack Obama, and she's like, we have to go to Mar-a-Lago because Shaw is there and he's gonna nuke 3 American cities or whatever in 24 hours, so we have to go. And he's like, well, you can't just go, didn't you just already go? And she's like, yeah, but he Trump was hiding him, he didn't let me know. Long story short, she's talking to the president, and she's like, I have to do a black ops raid of Mar-a-Lago.
What?
Yeah. And
You can't.
And he's like,
can't.
Hillary Clinton, you can't use the SEAL Team 6 to raid Mar-a-Lago. That's insane. And she's like, we're gonna be dead in 24 hours if I don't do this. So you have to keep in mind, this is Hillary Clinton's fan fiction. She wrote a story where she takes the Navy SEALs and raids Mar-a-Lago. It's
The
so
Navy
good.
SEALs who all love and respect her, by the way.
Yeah. Well, so another thing about Trump is that since he is the ex-president, but he's super right-wing, Mar-a-Lago is guarded by a bunch of private militiamen that he hired. And there's still a skeleton crew of the people from the Secret Service that you have to accept them if you're the ex-president. But they're mostly outnumbered by these private militiamen that she has. So when she does go and do Zero Dark 30 to Mar-a-Lago, the things that she writes about in the story that you're supposed to notice are all of his private militiamen are they're untrained, they are bulky because they keep too much weaponry on them, and they're so gaudy, and they don't really know how to actually do proper warfare, whereas the White House's special secret fucking crack team or whatever the fuck she's using they're like true warriors and they only carry certain amounts of stuff because they know how to get the job done efficiently. It's like lib porn shit. They're efficient and they, don't have all this extra stuff.
It's important to say.
They do a really good job. It's like the thing, From a liberal point of view, you could drive a wedge here and be like, there's a right and a wrong way to do brutal warfare where you kill children and stuff, and it's very much where like Hillary Clinton is coming from. So they sneak into Mar-a-Lago and they snap the necks of a bunch of these like private militiamen guys, and they get in and they find Shaw and he's just living in Trump's like apartment. Like he's just like his roommate or whatever. They find him cooking breakfast.
That rocks.
Yeah, it's so funny that Trump just lives with Osama bin Laden in this book. He's just hanging out with him.
I think he's cool. Yeah. He's always watching porn and I think it's cool.
So he just invited him to come live at his house, and that's where they find him, and then they kidnap him and they take him back to the White House. And at the White House...
Nobody's thinking of it this way, but could you imagine just being roommates with Donald Trump? Like, not even being roommates with Osama bin Laden. Being roommates with Donald Trump would be insane.
That sounds like it'd be kind of fun. It seems like he's pretty chill. He just hangs out all day, and he's just like, what? He's cool, I don't know. But
he's definitely not chill.
yeah.
He's like a germophile and all that shit. And he's really like, I noticed you put a banana in the recycling. What the fuck is that?
Well, that's yeah. See, they've got all these fucking. I mean, the Dunn administration just gets talked about a few times in the book, and it's always like the only people that survived it were people that were like yes men, because you would get fired immediately if you. So yeah, he was like an asshole. Everyone, you might say, was in a state of terror, which is the way it's put in the book. So yeah, I guess there's no need to do it.
In a way, it's a state of terror.
There's no reason to do a contrarian, Trump would actually be cool to hang out with argument. You're right, he's a dumbass. So they get...
I feel bad for Shaw. That's all I want to say. I want to have that on the record.
He's great because... So
I like that he killed Bill Clinton. I think he's a cool guy.
They get to right. I forgot he killed Bill Clinton. They get to the White House. They've got him, and they got him fucking tied up, and they're like punching him and stuff. And they're like, "God damn it, tell us, how to fucking find where the nukes are or whatever." And he's like laughing and doing the supervillain thing of like, I'm not going to tell you, hey, I'm not even, I'll just die. Like, I don't care. I won already. I care more about whatever. He starts doing like flimsy supervillain stuff where he's like, I hate democracy and all this stuff. And I did it because I hate democracy and, whatever. And
freedom is bad for some reason.
Yeah. There's like a couple of funny lines about how he's like talking about I'm going to put the empire out of its misery, and it was already like kind of bleeding out. Come on, who's kidding me? He's right about stuff. It's cool. But in this situation, basically the climax of the whole fucking thing is that they're trying to figure out who the informant is in the White House, and they know it's somebody, but they don't know who it is, and they go it's this guy Whitehead, one of the neocons, and when they say it's him, he like punches the president, and then they wrestle and stuff, and yada yada yada. Big weird fucking dramatic thing plays out, and then like somehow it gets flipped around, and like you think he's dead, but then he gets up and he punches Beecham. And you go, wait, it's actually Beecham, and like, whatever. I don't know.
Beecham?
It's really complicated. And there's like a woman also who just picks up a gun, and she's barely been in the story the entire movie, but she's like, I don't know, she's involved somehow. And she's like, I'm also in on it or whatever. And they figure out that there was like a whole dark, deep statey kind of thing going on. The way the way this is all sort of revealed is they're like, I can't remember which one of these things happens first, but basically the climax of the story, this is super boomery, is that they're talking about HLI, high level informant, and they're like, oh wait, I have a way that we can maybe fucking figure out where the bombs are. Let's talk to Q. And so they pull up a computer and she has a picture of the guy's web address that he's carved into his chest or whatever. And they punch it in, and then it just takes a really long time to load because it's the dark web. So it's like, but the way it's like written is like the computer was thinking. And it's like, there's no way to write this into a novel and make it seem interesting. It took them a while to get to a website. And then suddenly a door appears on the websites. Like it's just a picture of a door, and they're all like trying to figure out how to get into the website. So they're all like, try knocking on it. Is there a doorbell? And then like the president is just like leaned over this computer. He's just clicking on a fucking Homestar Runner page type thing. And they're like,
maybe if we sing outside of it because it's Christmas, they'll open the door.
Yeah. And eventually they figure out this code that somewhere earlier in the story, somebody had this code and they couldn't figure out what the code meant, and it was 03 something. It's like a numerical version of the time and date that Osama bin Laden was killed. And they figure out through like...
Who is, again, a different guy than the stand-in for Osama bin Laden in the story.
And this is like, thematically, it comes back because they were talking earlier. Somebody, I think Inuyasha was explaining to them about how like, oh, if you want to understand the jihadist mind, you have to understand it's all about revenge and like being obsessed with being fucking slighted by certain things or whatever. And so they figure out like, oh, the date of... and it's like they get to this. They figure this out after a bunch of incidents of like, try putting in freedom. They hate freedom. It's got to be freedom. Oh no, they love freedom. Put in for like Independence Day or whatever. And then finally, someone floats the what if you do Osama bin Laden's death time thing that we were talking about earlier. And when that happens, Shaw's eyes light up, and they all realize like, oh, he's mad because we figured it out. And they break into QAnon. And then what happens in the computer is they figure out that QAnon is not one person. It's a network of people within. They all have government. There's like a bunch of them in government and stuff like that. There's one of the Supreme Court justices is a QAnon person. And it's like, oh, it's a massive conspiracy by a bunch of people to try to overthrow the government. And also, when they break into the QAnon website, it just shows them 3 bombs, and it's like, I guess it looks like a video game screen or whatever, and
click no on bombs.
Yeah.
Vote no.
So there's a bomb in Washington D.C. In the White House, and it's like so close to them on the map they can't figure out where it is. There's another one in New York City, and there's another one in Kansas City. These are the 3 places that they've decided to set off nuclear bombs.
Gotta stop the Chiefs from winning the AFC West again.
Yeah. And I think I told this out of order, but this is when the fucking Whitehead punches somebody, and then Beaches punches somebody, and then blah, 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 and they're like, oh my god, it was Beecham the whole time. And
so it's like old John Bolton guys punching people.
Punching each other and revealing, I was actually part of QAnon, not. And like, it's confusing because the first guy, like, he wasn't part of it, but he played like he was so that he could roll on the floor and then get strategically closer to the guy that he figured out was, and whatever. This is the crime novel part of the fucking story. Who gives a shit?
The action thriller where QAnon is an intentional conspiracy other than just like a bunch of the dumbest ideas possible spread the farthest they could possibly go.
Yeah, and it's like also, I mean, with the fucking pedophile stuff that she wrote into this, it's like, but, huh? Like, that's part of QAnon.
She went out of the way in her own book to be like, in any pedophile stuff, they made that up. My husband is not a pedophile. That's made up.
So, this is the second to last chapter, right? And it's like, it's, them realizing that there's like a minute left to defuse the bombs, and they have to figure out, oh my God, the one in the White House is in the room directly below us, and they all run down there, and they're like diffusing it, and they're like 10, 9, 8, 7, and then she's like, and then whatever, a cliffhanger, the chapter ends, and it's like, what's gonna happen? I went limp and I went cold and yada yada yada. And then the next chapter is they're all at Three Pines and she's drinking wine with Chelsea and stuff, and they're talking with the president about how, wow, that was sure a close one, wasn't it? And also, by the way, this is chapter 45 of this book. It's yeah, I think it might be 46. I thought it was really confusing that they did 45 because that's like Trump's number.
Yeah, that's the number that she should have. She probably spent years thinking of, I'm going to be 45. I will be president number 45. That's just like baked into her mind now. And that's, her rightful place.
There, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is chapter 45. There's 45 chapters for some reason. So it's like we get this like glowy aftermath thing where they're all like eating cake and punch and stuff, and they're like, wow, we didn't get blown up, we averted crisis, we're no longer a state of terror. And the president has to go address the nation about the nuclear attempt thing that everyone's hearing about. And then he's like, hey kiddo, I need your advice on something. And she says, oh, that shirt doesn't match with that jacket. And he goes, no, not that. I want you to help me, like a real advice. Like, how do I do this? What should I divulge? So you're supposed to understand that she has earned his respect, and he's like asking her like for legitimate strategic advice on how to maneuver like this, State of the Union thing or whatever the fuck he's doing, this like press conference, because that's her skill, because she's the master negotiator, Secretary of State, who knows like subtle things like, tell him you have diarrhea. Fuck, I forgot that part. When she's at that Pakistani dinner, she has diarrhea. Sorry.
Nice.
It all comes back at the end.
She's got to get out of a conversation. So she says, oh, the fish didn't agree with me. And she runs to the bathroom with Betsy. But then, like, she actually gets diarrhea. And, like, she stalls this conversation by pretending she has diarrhea. So that's another one of her, like, the toolkit of the negotiator things or whatever. But
anyone can get diarrhea.
Anyway, end of the story is that she's talking to the president, and she's like, oh, here's what you do. You print your own child pornography. Tell people you have diarrhea. Like, do all this stuff. And he's like...
You're going to have to learn a very specific amount of coding.
And he respects her. And they respect each other. And they're going to be, a great fucking team from now on. And then the end is that suddenly... they get intelligence that a bunch of like sarin gas and other types of chemical weapons and stuff like that have all been stolen from these caches all around the world. And it basically ends on like them looking at each other and going, here we go again.
Better boot up the fake child porn hard drive again.
And that
another mysteries afoot.
Yeah. And that's State of Terror, man. Merry Christmas, everybody. I read it so you didn't have to.
Merry Christmas.
It fucking rules, dude. It's so funny. I listened to it while playing Dark Souls for like 10 hours, and like my brain is a haunted house now.
Those two things don't seem like they go together, but thank you for listening to that.
Hillary Clinton and Dark Souls don't go together?
Well, they just both require a lot of focus, I guess.
Hot sauce in my pocket. I don't know.
Yeah. She does have a dark soul, but I gotta say, man, like watching these interviews with her and Louise Penny, we were saying earlier, like she hates everyone. And I think that is true, except for Louise Penny. It's like the happiest I've ever seen Hillary Clinton is hanging out with her author friend, making up like mystery stories.
That's
so
great.
like, yeah, I'm not that there's anyone better in power, but I much prefer this than her actually wielding any power.
I think everyone just wants to put a little book together, and it is now my wish after hearing about this that Barack Obama leaves Michelle and marries Hillary Clinton. And they have a foundation of mutual respect to have a loving life together forever after.
There's a Mad TV sketch about that, actually.
Really?
There is?
Yeah, just about them boning, more so than getting married. But it's 2008 primaries.
I'm very interested in that.
Good one.
Yeah.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas. Merry Christmas. Yeah, and like, sure. You know what? I mean, we were talking last week with Rory about like how many psychos would be kept out of politics if there was arts programs, you know? Hillary, keep cranking them out. I'll read all of them. They're a great time, you know?
Yeah, she's got nothing else to do.
I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever heard, you know? It was pretty...
like when Bill Clinton was working with that author and put a book together, and then it was like nominally Bill Clinton, I was under the understanding like this is entirely James Patterson, and then Bill Clinton was like in the room just being like, put a gun in it or whatever. I'm willing to believe Hillary Clinton was like working on the outline process and, you know, test working like different characters and very wrist deep in the process. I could see her really getting involved.
She's all up in this. Like I was thinking about that the entire time where I was like, I was trying to game out the various scenarios because like, you know, in writing, you know, like, okay, for example, on TV shows, sometimes you'll see like, oh, this episode is written by so-and-so. And you go like, if you know how the process works, not necessarily. It could be that they have like a group table thing, but everybody gets to kind of put their name on one thing. And for political reasons, you get like, you know, you get first on the byline and stuff like that. So like this could have been a thing where Louise Penny was writing a story and then Hillary was just like, I want to throw my name on it. You know, I want to, it'll sell more if it's fucking, you know, oh, it's about me. Okay, we'll say we wrote it together. But like this has Hillary all over it. Like, it sounds like she wrote this, and then, like...
They would, So, it was like, COVID happened, because they had been planning to write this since 2019, and they just basically did it all over FaceTime, and would do it in bed with each other. Not with each other, but, you know, each one would be in bed in their PJs, and they were, like, talking and FaceTiming about this thriller novel.
Yeah, and then she's like, and that's... Put in that I make child pornography, but it's fake.
Yeah.
That'll get him. Putin.
Yeah. It does seem a lot more like, I remember when Bill Clinton's book came out with James Patterson, like the book was released right around the time, and they were doing like press for it, right around Epstein, I think, getting arrested. And so for all the interviews, they were asking the journalists like had to ask Bill Clinton about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and Patterson is just like sit there.
Hey, don't ask about that.
Yeah.
Man,
that's the best story I've ever heard. Thank you so much for sharing it with us, Jake.
You're welcome. This has been Christmas.
Thanks for doing the yeoman's work.
Christmas story time. For you listening, imagine that this was told around a fireplace by me, and I have a big beard and Santa costume, and it's Christmas story time.
Well, no, they're sitting on your lap, and you're holding them close while you tell them they're present.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton's book.
Yeah. This is like Frosty or something. It'll work its way into the Christmas canon as a thing that you tell your children. And then she had diarrhea. Ooh. Everyone gets scared for the diarrhea for a moment.
The other reindeer didn't trust Hillary Clinton until she showed them gay porn of them fucking children.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she got her, she led Santa's sleigh that night, flying in the front with her
That's right.
red nose. And it's a moral for all of us. Believe in yourself, especially if you are Hillary Clinton. Don't let the bastards get you down.
And never give up.
That's right. Hillary, if you're listening, keep cranking them out. Try more genres, right? There's sci-fi out there. You could do an erotic novel. I would read.
Yeah, would read.
All kinds of stuff.
Definitely would read sci-fi if you wrote it.
Would read.
Erotic sci-fi. How about that?
I'll read any of them.
Yes.
I got time.
All right, well, it's the end of the year.
An underappreciated genre.
Christmas came early, except this will probably just come out on Christmas. Maybe Christmas Eve will put it out.
Christmas came on time.
Mm-hmm. Let's do plugs. And then jingle the fuck off out of here. Anybody got anything?
At Dursley here on Twitter, Dursley1 on Instagram, redacted tonight. And there's a fundraiser happening in part from the DSA International Committee to raise money for CHIAPAS. There's been, unfortunately, a violent attack there. So they need some help, and there's a link that we will post that you can read more about the situation and please donate. And other plug is be nice to yourself. Remember the things that you love and have a good Christmas, and make sure to give yourself a present this Christmas.
There you go. Alex, you got anything?
Give yourself a present. Yeah, I'd like to plug the works of Hillary Clinton. I think she's great. Just support this young artist where you can. That's Hillary, HILLARY Clinton, CLINTON, like the president. They're actually related. Look it up. And support women artists.
Yeah, that too.
I've been drinking through this whole thing, and I honestly am getting. I didn't eat dinner. That's what it is.
You were just. We just talked about that on the other episode, but with Kratom.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you're a master negotiator.
Yeah. If you eat, make sure to do it before you take the kratom and not the other way around.
Unless you want your
it's
enemy
kind of
to
opposite
underestimate you.
Right. Yeah, if you need an excuse to get out of a social situation, you want to throw up, then
When your enemy sees you doing plugs inexpertly, they'll lower their guard in a way where you can sabotage them later.
I have shows. I don't know if I'm going to do the ones here in December, but they'll be on my pinned tweet if you're in New York. I'm starting a room in theory, and the first show, Alex will be on it. It's at the Gutter in Williamsburg in Brooklyn, which is a punk bar that's also a bowling alley. It's fucking great. The show's called Guttermouth. I think I might change it because there's a band called that. Anyway, either way, the first one, it's on the 18th. It's at 9 p.m. There'll be ticket links on my Twitter and in the show notes and stuff. And coming out because it's my birthday. If Omicron hasn't fucked everything, we currently can't tell what's going on with the future of going out to shows and stuff like that. So I don't know. I put this together before Omicron happened, and I don't know. But if everything isn't fucked, January 18th here in Brooklyn, come hang out with us at the Gutter. And other than that, I'm going on tour with Eve 6 in fucking 6 months or whatever, all over the nation. And we are the Union, and you can check those dates when they're announced, but that'll be really easy to look up because it's the famous one-hit wonder band from the 90s, Eve 6, who is all hella on Twitter now.
I actually think they have a deep pool of great songs that you could all see live with featured comedian Jake Flores.
Yeah, well, who among us can forget the other song that they do? Here's to
I can't mention it now, but we all know the one.
Oh man, their new music is there's no one's gonna believe me. Oh, you're an Eve 6 fan now because you're making money off of them. But that song they did with Bass Drum of Death, actual certified banger. But we can get into this on another episode. Merry Christmas and happy Happy New Year next week. No, we'll be back for that. Fuck it. Jingle bells, sounds.
Jingle bells.
We're flying away in the PDA sled now. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Ho, ho, ho.
Throwing Kratom over the edge and shit. Okay.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas.